Aloha and welcome to another episode of the Ohana Packers Edition podcast, the podcast where two dudes from halfway around the world are joined this week by Matt Ramage to talk everything Green Bay training camp. Oh boy, I can't even blame that on the intro. Matt, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today? And thank you for joining us.
Dude, I am pumped to be here. You guys have a really clean operation going on over here. You know what I mean?
Only the best for the best. Podcast. That's all I can say about that.
You know what I mean? No, I appreciate you asking me to come on here. This is fun. You know, I'm having a couple, 3 beers, you know. Not going to lie, I'm a little buzzed up.
That's the way we want to hear it. That's how we love it.
Wouldn't expect any less.
You know, it's Sunday night. You know what I mean? Sunday night, the week's going to start. I got to work in the morning. It's going to be horrible. So you might as well enjoy tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, I'm all about it.
Matt, about it. You know for those viewers who are uninitiated and uneducated, please explain your contribution to the Packers blogosphere.
Well, I am like, you ever listen to Andy Herman?
Yep.
I'm not like that. He's smart. I basically, I'm just a troll, you know? I like to talk about the Packers. I do live streams on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, like all the places. But I'm not like, no one ever, like, if you listen to an Andy Herman podcast or like even Nagler, all those guys, you get smarter. Like you leave knowing more about the Packers than you left. That's not happening on my show. But we're going to have a good time anyway.
Well, don't feel bad.
I have some cool guests.
We had Andy on like a month or two ago, and I don't think he's coming back after that one. Because I think he got to deal with us, and it's like, this, like you said, this is an amateur production. You know, what the hell's going on here?
No, first of all, I love it. That's fun for me. I like to have fun. That's the thing, like with anything I do, like I'll say to any podcaster who's like thinking about starting a podcast, and any advice I could give is to have fun.
Oh yeah,
because if you're having fun, the audience will have fun. I don't take anything too serious. I'm just screwing around, trolling Bear fans. Like I got this shirt on right now, Caleb Williams. It's a tweet from Caleb Williams. It says, "Okay, I guess I'm still a Packers fan." I screenshot it, made it a shirt. We have fun over here, but yeah, you can find me in all the places that people.
Yeah, and I'm just kidding. Andy Herman was great to have on, but we are more of a lax kind of.
He's awesome.
We're a lax group over here that even though we're going to bring.
What Joe is saying is, I don't think we're on the short list of substitute podcast hosts if he needs one.
Because we
I don't think I am either.
Because we have fun over here too. We love to joke and all that stuff, but we still love to talk about what we all talk about, and that's Green Bay Packers and NFL football.
Yeah, so. I think there's different ways to do it. I will say this about Andy Herman. I remember a long time ago when I first started doing like the podcast stuff, I DM'd him and I said, "Do you have any advice for me? Because I'm gonna try to do this thing or whatever." And he told me, he's like, "Don't try to be like me. Just just be yourself. Just do what you do." And I think he was saying, "Bro, you can't do what I do." So no, he wasn't saying that. No, but I think it's solid advice. It's like, do what you do. Like what makes it fun for you? Like what. You know, not everyone has to be like I wouldn't say a know-it-all, but like someone who's like bringing, information or whatever, like reporter wise. Some people, just talk, have fun, drink beers. You know what I mean? I think there's all types of ways to do this thing.
And we save the knowledge for the guys that do the writing for our website. So, we just come on and
you ain't get no knowledge.
We goof around over here. So, and just for the cheap pop here, that's ohanapackers.org, and it's Cole Reedy and Carlos Silva over there that do our writing. So, but yeah, I think chaos is great for this episode. Having Matt Ramage on, having Mike with the kiddo over there.
Yeah, it's chaos, bro.
Chaos is amazing. However, there was some big news that happened. And if I had one of them soundboards, I would be hitting the celebration music.
Bada bing!
Jordan Love signed his contract. 4-year deal. What was it? It was $220 million. 75 guaranteed.
I think it's
So
155 if it is fully guaranteed. 75 million signing
bonus. That's it.
You go.
See, that's why I keep Mike around us. He knows the technical details.
Yeah.
In between trying not to drown my daughter as I give her water, I can look things up on the internet to fact check.
That was like the one thing that I knew that you're gonna ask me for this episode.
The TJ Slayton contract extension? No.
Yeah, I know nothing else. just because I've talked about the Jordan Love contract so much that I kind of started to retain information about it, but that was it. It's gone.
But now. It's really, I will fully admit, I have admitted it for the longest time. I wasn't happy with the pick when it happened, but I have always said that I trust in Brian Gutekunst. If he had a plan for it, then that's all you can trust in, and it's really working out. There is going to be some questions because we only have seen really one full year of Jordan and that, but if they feel confident in what they're seeing in him, then go for it.
Yeah, I think that like Rogers' deal was done his first year starting halfway through. So like when you do what the Packers do, like what they've done, they had Favre, then they had Rogers sit for 3 years, watch them, but then that contract's due pretty quick because you got to make a decision quick, and that's like the bad part of that, how they do it. But it's been working out, and they believe that Jordan Love is that dude, so like they're gonna give him that money. But the thing with contracts, they were like, well, we haven't seen that much. Well, contracts, they don't pay guys for what they did. They pay them what they're going to do. Even if a guy wins a Super Bowl and he's young, they're like, all right, he's going to win us another one. We'll give him a big deal. But if like someone, if they're old, they don't care what you did because like it's a business. They care like what you're going to do. So they believe Jordan Love is that dude. They believe Jordan Love is going to win a Super Bowl. They wouldn't have paid him that money unless they thought he's going to bring us to the promised land. He's going to bring us back. And so far, like even it might only be one going on past history. You know what I mean? With Favre, he got one ring. Rodgers got one ring. Hopefully Jordan Love can break that. I think that he's got a good roster, a good team around him to like have a good start. But I'm glad he got his money. People were asking like, do you want him to be the highest paid? Like, I don't care. I just want him to get signed. And whatever that takes, like the market is the market. Like the Packers didn't pay him the biggest salary because they're being nice. They paid it because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
It's and next week or next season for sure, someone else is going to sign the biggest contract ever. And 2 years from now, that Rodgers contract is going to look like a bargain, or that Jordan Love contract is going to look at Patrick Mahomes. Like he got paid. That's the biggest story. He's not even on the list anymore. It's like top quarterbacks. I don't think.
Well, that's the thing. When they were doing the negotiations and that, I originally thought, hey, maybe he'll take like a smaller contract just to keep, that way, because we've got all these other things going on that a lot of contracts are going to be coming up soon anyway. Still give him money, but on the little smaller side of things. But then when you start seeing guys like Trevor Lawrence and Tua and all these guys getting these big ass contracts, like, he's not taking less. He's getting his bag of money.
And like it's his first big deal. Like I wouldn't expect him to like take anything off of it. Like it's his first big deal. Like he just changed his family's history. Like, you know what I mean? Like going forward, like his grandkids are going to be all right. Like, and I think, I don't know, to me, like I wouldn't take a pay cut. Like I get like further down in your career, people talk about Brady, but Brady was married to like someone who was crazy rich. Like and he's got TB12. Like he was doing all right. So I get like later in your years, taking some off, but also you have to trust the franchise.
Yeah.
Are they going to use that money? So like, I'm going to take less money, and then they're just like, all right, cool. And then they don't really do nothing with it. Then they're like, well, no, give me my money. But I think for the first big contract, I don't expect any player, no matter what the position, that they're going to get paid. And
Mike,
I mean, I like
you
money.
might correct me if I'm wrong on this, because you might remember, you might know it a little bit better than I do, but I know Rodgers got a bag of money, but I think he took a little bit of a lesser deal than what some other guys were taking at the time. So I think that's what I was kind of basing things off of.
Yeah, I think when Rodgers signed his deal, like, it was an eyebrow raiser because he hadn't quote unquote proven anything, because I think it was before like Thanksgiving of his rookie year, or not rookie year, but his first year as a starter. But it was like, that's a lot for a guy that's unproven, but it's not top. I don't think he even was top 5 or anything like that. I think it was sort of like a mutual, like, hey, from Green Bay, it was like, we believe in you and we're going to honor that and stuff. And then from Rodgers' point of view, like, you have to remember, going into his first year as a starter, he had ended like every season on IR heading into that. So like, there was question of like, this guy is taking over for the most durable quarterback of all time, one of the most durable players in NFL history. And, is he going to live up to that? And they, Green Bay and Rodgers, they made really good on that. But I think by the time he signed his next extension, it was like, oh my God, this dude is on such a favorable. It's not a rookie deal, but it might as well be a rookie deal for as good of a quarterback as he is, kind of thing. And then, so different things. But I mean, Love finished his year. He did something that Favre and Rodgers didn't their first year as starters. He went and won a playoff game, played decent enough that you could argue he should have won a second playoff game, but that's just signs for the future and where this team has to go from there. So and on kind of the point Matt and both you and Matt were making, Joe, is like, I don't really care about the highest paid in history because it's a like an arms racy thing where it's like someone else is going to break it, could be tomorrow, will be next year kind of thing. So it's just until the next guy does it. But like you said, good for Jordan. I do think he's earned it. And like Matt mentioned, this is more about where the Packers think he's going to take them, not what he's done to this point. So super excited for Jordan, excited for the Packers. And that really does dovetail into training camp opening and what we're hoping to see out of the Packers in 2024 and beyond. So I'll just kind of lead it there. Matt and Joe, Matt, you're the guest. So what is your top thing? It can be anything, a player, Halfley scheme. What is the top thing you're looking forward to, reading about, seeing, hearing about coming out of training camp for the Packers this season?
Well, so far it's kind of been the defense because in training camp, everything coming out of training camp is the defense been lighting up. Like people talk every year and it doesn't matter the team. If the defense is lighting up, like, oh, is it the defense is so good or is the offense struggling? I don't worry about the Packers offense, especially now Jordan Love is back. He wasn't practicing, but I'm excited about this defense. I think it was Nixon came out and said, we want the Packers to be known for defense, not the offense. That this defense wants to be like 2000 Ravens, like one of those top defenses that people remember. And if that happens, this team is going to be stupid good. Yep. But I'm excited about this defense. I mean, the offense, I really am too, like Josh Jacobs and all those guys. But like, I think I'm very confident in this Packers offense. Like, it's going to do some stuff. So the defense is like what I really want to like. Just, dude, I want him to be aggressive. I want him to punch people in the face, not literally.
Yes, literally. Yeah, we want to see it.
Yeah, but I want him to be nasty. Dude, that's what a defense needs: aggressiveness, some nastiness. Back in those like Charles Woodson days, like if they dropped an interception, they're like doing push-ups and stuff. Like I want that, like, and it not just nastiness, but having fun. Like even back when a few years ago, Preston Smith and Zadarius was there, Amos, like when they got them, that defense was like so hopeful. But like they run down, they make a play, run on the field and celebrate together, like the little pitcher thing, whatever they're doing. I think having fun as a defense is really important. But I think this defense, hopefulness to be like one of the great defenses. Every year I always say top 5. But I don't lie about it. Like I really believe it, but usually I'm wrong. But this year I think, and sometimes like these last 2 with Joe Barry, I wasn't as hopeful.
Right.
I don't know if I was screaming about top 5, because they just do stupid stuff. Preston Smith guarding Devontae Adams. Like, how does that happen? Like, I mean, I love Preston Smith, but like, let him go take the quarterback down. Don't have him out there running around chasing Devontae Adams. And he did good, but like stuff like that. Like, how can you watch that and be hopeful?
Right.
Like when they're just doing. And then, like, guys are just end of the game. Guys are running open. Like, everyone's around them, but not, like, on them. And, like, what are we doing, bro? Like, it was driving me nuts. So I'm hopeful for this defense. Everyone's saying the right things. Everyone seems happy. Kenny Clark was on my podcast. He was jacked up about it. And that was before he kind of got in the training camp and all that. But everything that you're hearing coming out of training camp, the interviews, players seem jacked up. Players seem excited. And I think that is a really good sign for this defense.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the youth too. There's a lot of young guys on the team that they're, that youthfulness is spreading amongst the players where even the so-called older guys on the team are still feeling young because they've got all that youth and excitement going on. So to kind of answer Mike's question, I agree with Matt, but mine is going to be more, and you never thought that anybody would say this going into training camp, but mine's got to be the offensive line, just because there's so many question marks with going on there. You know, we know pretty well that Zach Tom's most likely going to be right tackle. We know most likely right now Rasheed Walker's going to be left tackle. We're pretty sure Elton's going to stay at left guard. Maybe Josh Meyer is still at your center. And right guard, we have no friggin' clue right now. It may be Jordan Morgan. It may be Sean Ryan. It may be Jacob Monk. It better not be Royce Newman. So, you know, it's just one of those things that while I'm excited for the defense, like Mike or Matt was just talking about, I've got to watch this offensive line just because they keep saying they want to get their best 5 out there, and we have no clue what their best 5 is right now. The coaches may, but we as like content creators and Packers fans, we have no clue what their best 5 is.
Dude, I will tell you, in week 5, I still won't know. Dude, the offensive line is like my Achilles heel, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know how to judge offensive line. I trust everyone else that they're going to do it. They'll do a good job because, I mean, obviously, if they show the numbers, this guy has a lot of sack in 3 games or whatever. Obviously, that's good. That's what you want. But like just watching film, but like Jordan Morgan, you know, the number 1 pick, that everyone thought left tackle, but now they are saying guard.
Well, I'm gonna correct you on that one, Matt. You're looking at 2 guys right here that were saying the whole time that he is not a tackle. And then Brian Maffey is a guy that was on the right guard position since since draft night.
Well, I mean, people not as smart as you. You know what I mean? That's who I'm talking about. Those are my people. Those are my people.
But you know, I think a lot of people realize that just listening from the talk after Jordan Morgan was drafted, that he was probably going to be more better inside. I really, and I will be honest, and this is another one where I can say I'm going to trust the process with Gutekunst, because Gutekunst gets paid a hell of a lot more money than I do to do the shit that he does, and he's actually there making the decisions. I wasn't happy with the pick just because it was, well, where does he play? You know, well, his arms are too short to play tackle. Well, so that means he's a guard. Well, he could play center, but he's never played any of those positions. He's only played tackle. So he's going to play tackle. Well, you know, he might not be able to handle tackle in the pros. So there were just too many questions on it that it's just like, I don't know. So that's more another reason why I'm looking into offensive line during, you know, the training camp process, because, you know, where does he go? Jacob Monk was a big one of the fan favorite draft picks because of his ability to play both interior positions and center. And then you got the big guy out of Georgia State, Travis Glover. And he was just like an off the wall type pick because he's outside of everything Packers normally take at a offensive line position. So he's got a real.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like, what is he, Mike? He's like,
I seen him at training camp.
Yeah,
I seen him at training
he's
camp.
like 6'6", 320 something or 330 something.
Yeah.
He's
a large human. I remember seeing. I was at training camp there today too, but I didn't see it. I saw him the other day, and I remember this like, dude, that's a big
he's a
dude.
big guy.
I mean, I know some people see me and say that, but like that is a
bro.
I'm talking about
I'm
tall.
6 foot, 380, and that boy makes me look small.
Yeah, he's a big dude. We'll see, but yeah, that's the thing about training camp. Like going to training camp and like you see some of these people, like they're so big, like you know what I mean? They're bigger than just average human. Like, how do they go to Walmart? They gotta be ducking out of those, you know, those You know, you go down the aisle, they got the advertising coming out. They just got to be ducking.
Well, and think about the cars they've got to be driving. They can't be driving like Porsches and
yeah, they can't drive regular stuff.
No smart cars on the Packers roster.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna see NFL player driving an old Geo Metro type car. I've had a couple of those in my day. Yeah, there are huge humans.
So, but yeah, so Mike, where are you sitting? What are you looking forward more with training camp?
So basically, not to be the Debbie Downer, but it's like there's certain names, we all know them on this roster. Are they gonna make it to the next stage of this season healthy? And more in I look at it more in the like hopeful, optimistic sense of it. You know, one of them is Eric Stokes. You know, it took the long road, 18 months basically of like rehab recovery from you know, basically like a double ankle knee injury and then a bunch of hamstring injuries that torpedoed his season last year. And it sounds like he's had a really good start to training camp. So you want to hear him, you know, stay on the field and keep ascending. Christian Watson is another one. You know, you just have these guys who, and you know, Jaden Reed was the one where it's like, why is he on PUP to open camp kind of thing? And then he's like, oh yeah, like I heard a toe at my football camp, and it's like, which kid is getting banned for life for stepping on his foot in the in warm-ups kind of thing and stuff like that.
You know, his dad was like, "What did you do?
Yeah.
I bring you here, and this is what you do."
Dad is like taking pictures, and it's like, "Oh, my son's talking to Jaden, and oh god, oh no, he's rolling on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's not my kid. I don't know who that is, but."
Yeah,
you're walking home, you little.
You gotta
bastard.
leave that kid there. Yeah, you just leave. I don't even want to be associated with this kid.
But seriously, like I know, and that's the thing is, it's like this isn't the most high intensity part of you know, preseason or anything like that, but it is just, you know, checkpoints for these guys, and it's like just hitting more landmarks on their return to the field and hopefully being productive for the roster. So that's really it for me, and you know, that kind of will dovetail into offensive line play, defensive play, as Matt was noting, is, you know, guys like even Jair to a certain extent, and you know, his are more like contact related, where you know, he's had the back, he's had the shoulder and stuff, but you know, you just want to see your best players be on the field and able to, you know, help the roster move forward. So that's kind of where I've got my attention. You know, Matt, Joe, you are two guys who have been or will be to training camp this season. Like I said, I'm watching from afar, from 5,000 miles away with you know, whatever.
Dude, I want to come visit though.
we can watch the Twitter feed together. But
yeah, come get me.
You know, me. Matt, you mentioned Glover as a guy that caught your eye for numerous reasons, but for the two of you, you know, who's a guy that you're either, you know, name one guy that you're excited to watch during camp and one guy that maybe you're hoping will catch your eye. Matt, who's kind of on your list of like dudes that you're waiting to watch practice?
I mean, waiting to watch practice. Like, I'm excited about Josh Jacobs because, you know, we had Aaron Jones, and I love Aaron Jones. Yeah. He's such a good human. He's like one of the better humans we have.
Did you ever get to meet him, like, Matt?
Yeah, I did. I actually, I was at training camp a few years ago. Preston Smith gave me a family pass. Right? I got to go sit with the family and watch practice, and I saw Aaron Jones. The corner of my eye, I was like, "Oh man, it's Aaron Jones!" But I didn't want to be all like fangirly, so I was like, "I'm gonna play it cool." And I was talking to Preston, and he was introducing me to his family, his baby at the time. And then Aaron Jones saw me, and he was like, and he just walked right up to me. He's like, "Yo, I love your Instagram," and that was like my life was made. I was like, "Oh my goodness, he's so cool. He's so humble. He's just so normal. Yeah. He's just so good." But anyways, Josh Jacobs, you know, I think he's a good replacement. I don't love that Aaron Jones was moved, but
for like a half an hour, we had a solid tandem going on there.
Yeah, we do. I was excited. I was like, man, it's so good because I mean, I'm not a big like where I watch a lot of Raiders games. To see Josh Jacobs. I knew he's one of those guys you just know he's good. You know, you see the highlights. You see Josh Jacobs is a good running back, and so I'll be watching him. But like I watched, like I went to training camp and I go to the back side of the fence. You know, I don't sit in the bleachers because I don't like crowds that great.
You'd get,
I mean, for a game,
you'd
I can
get
do
swarmed.
it, but I'm not a big crowd guy. Yeah. Well, no, I'm just not like I don't like sitting in.
I get you.
I don't like
I've been up there numerous
whole thing.
times, and I'm not a big. I mean, my big thing is I would go stand on the ramps, and I would take pictures from the ramps because I didn't want to sit in the bleacher sections of everything because of the same reason.
Yeah, I'm just not big on close quarters. So I go outside the fence and I watch. Like I've been there many times, so I know like the good spots to go. I don't want to tell you because people will start copying me. No, but I just go over there and. But over there, you can see really close. Like I posted a video of Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary having a moment. And Preston Smith, he's standing like 10 feet away from the fence. And I'm recording through the fence, which you're not supposed to do. But I don't think that Packers really care if it's not like a play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they don't like it when you record from inside.
Thanks, Big B.
Which is weird because like a lot of Big B, you know, he's over there just being gangster. I don't care. I do what I want to do. But I love Big B. He's good people. But I don't think that they really cared. I actually asked Preston before I posted it. I DM'd him and say, hey, is it cool if I post this? Because it was a private conversation. But like he was talking to me, he goes, and he told Rashawn Gary, it's not ever as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think it is. I feel like that's deep. Like that's I feel like Preston Smith is he's very smart and he's very wise and he's very like motivational. Like he's very driven. And I like Preston Smith a lot, like all his stuff. But anyways, I thought that was a great video. And I think Preston Smith, I think it'll be interesting to see because he's a veteran guy on defense. He's helping lead a lot of these guys. I think Rashawn Gary's ridiculous. I think Rashawn Gary's going to have a monster season. Probably one of the better defensive seasons for anybody in the NFL. Rashawn Gary will have. But I think Preston Smith is a big part of that. I feel like they're friends. I don't know that. I don't know, you know, I'm not like
right.
I don't have an insider, but I feel like, you know, they're playing the same position. You see them a lot practicing.
We'll break the news now, Matt. Send Preston a DM, be like, hey, are you guys friends or are you what? You know, what's going on here?
It seems like it. Like Preston Smith is here's how I do it. Like I think about it, like on Instagram, Preston Smith will share a lot of Rashawn Gary stuff. Like he was in the top 100 on NFL Network. Preston Smith shared a story. All the players, which I think is cool, which I think a lot of people outside of football could learn from, is all the players on every team, if you watch, they all support each other. They all get excited when someone has a win. When someone does something good, they get a big contract. They comment on, yeah, we're, you know, good job or whatever, like, you know, positive stuff. I feel like people outside of football could like learn from that and root on people instead of being mad when someone's doing, you know, maybe not better, but like, you know, they have an achievement and people in like real life sometimes are like mad about it. But players, even on other teams, like they're rooting for them, you know what I mean? Like, go get it. You know what I mean? And I think that is like you see Preston Smith or like a lot of players just rooting for each other. Even like Jair Alexander, when he got drafted, you ever see that video when Lamar Jackson got drafted after him? Or like right about the same time and how pumped he was. I think that's what people should be doing. People should be, you know, when someone does something good, like celebrate them. You know, pump people up instead of trying to tear them down.
I feel like I think Ramage is calling me out here. What the hell, Matt? I didn't bring you on my show to friggin' call me out on shit.
I didn't call you out. I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
But no, I agree that it's great to see the relationships that these guys have, which in a way kind of, and I know this is old news, so you can't really go back to it anymore, but you see the difference between when Rodgers was on the team and now, where it seemed like Rodgers had his clique of friends and then it was everybody else. And now it's just everybody, you know, we're not one single person, you know, a bunch of individual groups. We're one single unit that, you know, coexist with each other. And, you know, not everybody's going to get along every day of every hour of every day. They're going to have their fights. They're going to have their moments, but they're at least containing it amongst themselves. So, you know, that's always great. And, you know, I look forward to see what Preston does just because, you know, it's kind of a change of position for him going from the outside linebacker position to, I don't think he's an edge rusher right now. I think they've got him listed as a defensive lineman. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with his hand in the dirt. But you kind of miffed me there, Matt, because you left out my boy, my Iowa guy, my Lucas Van Ness, because Rashawn's going to have a partner on the field. It's going to be Hercules, man. So, you know,
Yeah, I got nothing against it, but my dude is Preston. You know what I mean?
no, that's
No.
But that if we would go back a question to what position group, that defensive line specifically is going to be an interesting group to watch, just because of how many guys are going from being stand up rushers to now they're down linemen. So that's going to be good. I'd have to say my one guy to watch is probably going to be Carrington, just to see if he can replicate what he did last year. And it sounds like so far he has really been able to step in and kind of show what he did last year wasn't just a fluke. And that's an amazing story, coming from a 7th round draft pick to a starter in just his rookie year. And now, he's doing great out there. I know they're saying it's Stokes' job to lose, but I think it's more Carrington's job to lose with Stokes just barely behind him. And I guess today the 7th round kid out of Penn, Kalen King, had a really good practice today. So that's one of the great things about having a defensive back specific coordinator to coach these guys is, I'm really excited for all that stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Carrington can continue doing.
Yeah, there you go.
Right on.
I like it.
Like I said, one year I'll make it up there for training camp, but
it's
for
great.
now it's just another year of watching videos.
I always tell people, if you have to do one thing in your life, even if you're not a Packer fan, you just got to go to training camp, because it's a unique experience. I know all the other teams have their training camps and all the other teams do their shit, but Packers training camp just has a weird feel about it, or not a weird feel, but like a unique feel about it.
Good weird.
Yeah. It's a unique feel about it because you've got, and family night. Matt can sit here and tell you this about family night too. You have 70,000 plus people in the stadium for a friggin' practice.
Dude, training camp is so awesome. Like I was down there today. I was on there the other day, and it's just like everyone's friends. I wore this shirt today. People were coming up to me talking about the shirt, like laughing, I like your shirt, whatever. It's like everyone. It's like it's almost like if you went to like a fair, except for minus the games, whatever. Like there's like people everywhere. Everyone has like the same agenda. Everyone's a Packer fan. Everyone's there to have a good time. Everyone's to see like the bikes and to watch practice, hang out. It's fantastic. I think training camp is as fun as a game. Like you just go down there, hang out with people. Like it's just awesome, and it's cool because people recognize me. So like people will come up to me and talk to me. It's like you're just hanging out with all your friends. I love it.
Awesome stuff.
I think his
Joe, your mic is like dead, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it must.
But anyway, Joe's over here. He's miming it over here. You know what I mean?
But you know what, Matt? Like, what are some of the other things that you enjoy? What's on your top 3 list of things you've got to do every time you attend training camp? Like, not just going to practice, but the thing, like whether it's a restaurant you got to hit up, a certain, what's on your to-do list that's like, it's just second nature for you. You're like, yeah, I'm going to Packers training camp, which means that I'm hitting up this place. I'm going here for food. I'm seeing these people. What's on your must-haves?
So like usually what I do, like when I first get to training camp, I go by the bike area, like where all the kids riding the bikes out. Usually there's some people there that I know, like we hang out or whatever, kind of watch some of the players come out. For like eating wise, we're going to Stadium View. Stadium View is right down the street from where the Packers practice. I usually walk around and just talk with people. Like, I know people like come there every year. Like you know them from Twitter, from Instagram, wherever. Different people are there all the time. And I usually walk all the way around. first of all, there's bathrooms over there. I'm 45 years old. I need to know where the bathrooms are at. You know what I mean? I need an outhouse, close proximities. And so I go around by the fence. I got the bathrooms over there. And like I said earlier, like you can watch a defense because the defense is usually on one side of the field, like on the, I don't even know, like, be like south side or whatever of the practice field. And the offense, I don't know if they're on their side because I usually don't sit over there because that's like where the bleacher area is. And sometimes I'll go over there, but I usually hang out on the defense side, and then you can watch like from far away, like all like the plays that are happening. But like when I go there, I don't really go there to just watch practice. I go there to just kind of hang out. I think it's a cool vibe, and it depends what time. Maybe have a few beers over there, but I don't live directly in Green Bay anymore, so I usually don't drink down there during training camp because I had to drive home. But back in the day, you know what I mean? But family night is like like you mentioned earlier, family night is awesome. I haven't went in a few years. Like when my kids were young, it was awesome. I think it's a cool spot, a cool thing to go to when you don't get chances to go inside the stadium all the time.
All right, can you hear me now?
You are coming through.
It's all rackly.
Yeah.
How about now?
As Joe works through, you sound like you're taping Saw or something like that over there.
How about now?
Still.
So crackly.
Just like the Packers defense, we are working through some growing pains at the moment.
Yeah, this is some special teams activity happening over here. Where we got you know how the Packers special teams is.
Yeah, Matt, when you go and they like, I'm just reading like Hodkowitz, all the like Herman's, all their tweets about like the kicking competition and stuff like that. Is there like a noticeable like anxiety in the air when it's like, all right, Anders or whoever is up to kick this kick in the 2-minute drill, or is it kind of like, oh, they're kicking, or is there a noticeable like, oh, here we go, who's gonna be there to screw it up for the Packers this season?
I don't know about like right now, but like this season, they're gonna be. It doesn't matter who wins the competition, no matter who's the kicking in Green Bay. Everyone, every time, it's like not normal because Crosby back in those days, we trusted that when Crosby's out there, it was going to happen. Like he was going to get it. Right now, I think a lot of people are going to have trust issues with the kicking situation, but we'll see. It's definitely a concern because like if you're in close games, you want your kicker to be someone that you can trust, like you're sure. But like I think this season, a lot of people are going to be holding their breath when it comes to the kicking, but that's up to whoever is the kicker for the Packers to just get solid and take that away from us. Because I don't need that anxiety in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Like Joe and I, we just had this game last season of it's like we would just be texting each other. And we're like, oh God, he's going to miss the next one. He's going to miss the next like 2 or 3 because it's like you can kind of read that body language and it's like, oh no, it's like when I don't know if you golf, Matt, but like if you have friends who golf and they tell you how like, oh, I've been to like a swing doctor and I've been to lessons and now I have like 47 different things that I think about when I go up to swing and I like can't hit the ball straight anymore. And that's kind of what it looked like Anders was going through at times last season, where it's like he's going good, and then he shanks one and you're like, oh God, is he gonna make his next one or is he gonna miss 3 in a row right now? Kind of thing. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, where it's like we're just waiting to see who's gonna figure it out for this team this season.
It's kind of like with like back in the day with Brett Favre, as great as he was a big Favre fan back in the day, but when he throw deep, sometimes they're intercepted. Favre had a reputation, so when he would throw it deep, I would kind of hold my breath, might hope someone's there, hope it's there. A lot of times it was, but there was a lot of interceptions there too. And then when Rodgers came along, it really didn't happen. Like you didn't really have to worry. Like if he threw it deep, you were confident that someone was competitive, like he could get it there. And I think the same thing right now, like with Mason, we weren't too worried. We were pretty confident in him, and now we're going to have to hold our breath a little bit until they prove that they can be trusted. And make my heart not skip beats while they're snapping that
Okay,
ball.
I went with Old Faithful for my microphone. Is it working well now? Okay.
There you go. Iowa Joe is back in the building.
I must not have plugged in my other mic too long, long enough. So,
Dude, I think about that with these headphones. I haven't charged these headphones in a long time. I was like, one day I'm gonna do a podcast, and just all of a sudden you guys are gonna be miming it. You know what I mean?
For the kicking competition, it sounds like none of them are really above any other ones right now. You know, Anders is, I think, has the best streak so far, and he missed one today or yesterday. But the kid from Michigan has missed a couple. Joseph has missed a couple. So it's what they were hoping for hasn't quite happened yet.
Yeah, they're making it harder to make a decision and easier.
But special teams, you know, this is going to be the year that makes or breaks Rich Bisaccia on the team. Just because, all right, man, you were supposed to be a special teams guru. You know, get out there and do your job. Now, and like Mike was saying, we've had conversations over this last year about it where at least Anders wasn't worse than what he was, because he had the potential that and we saw it during the preseason, that if he missed one, he missed multiples. But then during the season, he was getting it down where he was getting more comfortable that if he missed one, he wasn't missing multiples. He would come back and make another one later on. But I still got to have faith in him. I always give a guy another year. You know, rookie year is all. You know, Mike will tell you that we're well known about the 3-year deal, where the first year is your rookie year. You're just learning to play in the NFL. Your second year is where you kind of a setback. So you're just getting used to, you know, coming back on all that. And the third year is when you should have it completely together. And that's when you take your step into being an NFL player. Kickers, it's a little bit harder to do because it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different because I feel like it's kind of the same thing. But I think you have to be a little bit chill with kickers. Like having a bad season like Crosby had. I remember back in the day, everyone wanted to cut. I was backing him because I was like, dude, like he's going through some stuff. And like early on, especially in the rookie year, I get a kicker having some struggles. I'm not saying like if they replace him and they got a different kicker, I'd be like, oh, whatever. I trust whatever they got going on. If they think he's the best option for the Packers, and because a lot of times guys are nailing it in practice, so they know they can do it. And then in the games, they have some follow-ups. You could stick with them for so long, but at some point, if they ain't getting it right, then you got to do it. But I trust Goody. I trust the people who are making decisions, especially with the kicker.
Well, you could have a situation like Minnesota did. They had Anders' brother over there, and after missing a lot of kicks in his rookie year, they cut him halfway through, and then he went over to Las Vegas, and now he's one of the best kickers in the league.
He ends up, one of the better kickers in the league. And the Vikings and kickers just don't vibe that well. You know what I mean?
So I don't think there's much more that I've got to talk about. Do you have anything else you got on the slate for us, Mike?
No, that's really it. Just really wanted to get your two insight on it because, like I said, you know, I'm coming from the point of view of someone who's never been to training camp, so just wanted to see what the two of you are looking into. I've always, like I said, I'm the distant observer, like I'm the astrologer on the ground who's like the astronauts are up there kind of thing. Like you two are like astronauts, and I'm like, I wonder if it's going good up there, and also I wonder how the sights look from up there and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the approach that I've taken on it, and I appreciate the two of you kind of giving your insight and sharing your experiences with training camp. Like you both said, it's something that I've really wanted to attend one day, so I look forward to that. But
I just gotta repeat myself if it didn't come through because of mic issues. It's the one thing that I think anybody, even if you're not a Packer fan, needs to experience at least one time, because it is a completely different feel than what any other team does. There have been even teams that have tried to copy the whole bike tradition.
Dude, they all, so many teams try to copy this thing. And then someone else was commented on one of my things, and they're like, "Oh, this team does it too." Or the Steelers, I think. I was like, "Yeah, the Packers have been doing this since the '60s. Everyone else
I was
sucks,
going to do
all right?
an article on it.
Also, I want
Cliff Crystal from the Packers historian did an article, and I was doing some research into it. And the earliest picture they have for the bike tradition for the Packers is 1958.
That's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Also, I do want to say before we end this thing that Mike has a fantastic voice. Like he could do radio.
Well, now you know why I bring him on here.
I do.
You know, and
you know what I mean? He has a good voice. He's good at talking. You know,
I appreciate that, Matt, but this is only the first 48 minutes that you've been stuck hearing my voice. I'm sure that there are many people in my life who are like, let's live with, when you live with that for 34 years, you kind of you sing a different tune. But no, I really appreciate it,
the
Matt.
Family might.
Yeah.
Family might think something different. I know my family has some views about me.
Well, at least Mike hasn't brought out the dad voice yet, so I haven't heard that part of it yet. So we're good right now.
Yeah, like shut it down. I remember like when my kids like we whenever we went to like somewhere where we had to be like, you know, like act right, you know what I mean? Like go to a restaurant. I would just tell my kids, try to act normal. That's what I would always tell them. Just act normal. We're going to a place. We're going in the store. Act normal. Just pretend to be normal for about 45 minutes while we go in this place.
I was visiting my in-laws in San Diego one year, and at one of their stores, I saw this sign that I bought and brought back home for my mom. And it just says like, just chill. For all these people know we're totally normal. It's in my parents' like downtown their powder room, so it's super. I was like, that's as fitting as it is for my family.
That's all you can ask people. Just pretend. Let these people pretend that we are normal folks. You know what I mean? No, but I appreciate you.
But what's interesting is Mike has to tell me that before we start recording all the time too. You know, just pretend we're normal for a moment.
Dude, that's kind of how it was for me too. I remember like my brother-in-law told me this one time. He had whatever when he met his wife, and he introduced her. And he introduced her to me, and he was like, "Hey, this guy is a little." He says stuff sometimes. He's just kind of wild. But so like they told me like we have to prepare people when we introduce them to you.
I was like that for a while. People would be like, you know, telling me I needed to wear a sign around my neck or something, you know, be careful with interactions with this person.
Yeah. I know. I think it's funny. Sometimes people used to ask me to come to my house, watch the Packer game. But then there's been times after they're like, don't invite that guy no more. He says stuff. They got kids. I'm like, hey, don't invite me. You know, I get worked up during Packer games.
That's why we have podcasts, and we can say whatever the hell we want to.
Dude, now I do live streams during the game, and it's more chill because I know people are watching me. You know, so I kind of know. But like if I watch a game and I'm not on live stream, like, dude, I drop some words. I have a clean show. You know what I mean? It's a family show. But like when I'm alone, if I'm watching the game, which I haven't done in a while because I do the live stream thing now, but like I get worked up. Even like on the live streams I do, I just try to like tone it down a little bit because I don't want to scream into the mic the whole game. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to hear me just like screaming. Yeah. But dude, the live streams during the game are so fun though. Cause like, you know, a lot of people watch, not like hundreds of thousands, but whatever, a good amount of people watch. And it's like you're watching the game with a bunch of your friends. Like they're commenting, I respond to the comments, throw the comments on the screen. Dude, I love it, especially if the Packers win. If they lose, it sucks because then all the trolls come in like, "What now, punk? Packers suck." And then like, what do you say? They're down like 33-17. Like, all right, whatever, bro. There's not much you can say. I get trolled so hard. First time I went live during a game was week 1. I forget what year it was. They played the Saints. They got blown up by like 30 points.
Oh,
first live stream ever. I'm just standing there looking at my screen like, they could come back. You never know. It was so horrible because I was already nervous because just doing a live stream because it's a lot, you know, to do for 3 hours. You're live, and I've gotten better since then. But that was a bad game to start with.
You see, Matt, that's why we only live stream day 2 of the draft so that we're just shit talking guys that may or may not make it, and we're kind of teasing each other for our theories on who they'll pick and stuff like that. But there's no real stakes. It's like we'll see who the Packers pick. There's no, Oh,
And I'm
God.
kind of
Everyone's
glad
watching us get blown
Yeah,
out with 30.
I'm kind of glad we didn't
shh.
do certain draft, or we weren't a podcast during like the 2020 season for the draft that year, because our live stream would have been shit.
yeah.
You would have just
I
had me.
don't. I don't
You would have
live.
just had me sitting on the corner, like saying, "I kind of wish they didn't trade up for him, but I like the pick." Like, just be sitting there.
Yeah, I don't live stream during the draft because I don't know nothing about college. Like, but when Jordan Love got drafted, I was laying on the couch, right, watching the draft. I fell asleep. My wife tapped me like, "Hey, Packers are up on the Packers are gonna pick." And so I watch. I open my eyes and I'm kind of groggy, like, all right. And they're like, quarterback Jordan Love, and I was just so confused. I don't think I've ever heard his name before because I'm not a big college guy. I don't watch any of that.
Right.
I mean, I watch the Badgers, Wisconsin's team a little bit, but I don't know the players. I'm not locked in like the Packers. But I was just like, all right, I guess. I don't know. I was confused. I didn't expect it. I wasn't mad, but I was like, they know more than me, bro. I was just sleeping on the couch. They were, you know what I mean? So like, they know more than me, and I kind of got like what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the same thing with Rodgers and Favre, and if this is the guy, I wasn't sure he was, but I'm riding with him because I'm a Packer fan. If you're my quarterback, I'm gonna ride with you. Now, if they drafted someone he sucked, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, he's gonna be good, whatever. If he sucks, like I'd have been like, I'm not thrilled with it. But like, I mean, but the way the Packers handle their business, they wouldn't let a guy. They wouldn't. They're too good for that. They would not have gave Jordan Love the deal if they didn't believe he was the guy. And I've seen enough. I've seen enough to know Jordan Love is the guy. I'm not saying he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, but he's gonna be a really good quarterback for them. And just he did all the right things.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he shut up when Rodgers was doing all his things. Rodgers was playing those 3 years, even when there was drama, even when Rodgers was on the blackout retreat, whatever he was on, and all the media was talking, everything was happening. Jordan Love could have came out right there and been like, "Oh, I like it," I like a light bulb every now and again. He could have made he could have said a wrong thing. But he didn't. He just did what he was supposed to do. And obviously, there's love between Rodgers and Jordan Love. And he did everything right. And now it's his time. And the people were mad at him because he held in, as they call it, because he was there. But, like, dude, I feel like that was his good business. I think the Packers wanted the same thing. Like, let's get this done, and then you'll play. Because if Jordan Love would have got hurt, if they're, like, working on a deal, like, they're, like, one line away from it getting done, and now all of a sudden Jordan Love gets hurt, the Packers are in a bad spot. He's in a worse spot, but I feel like that wouldn't have been good. So I think it's good he wasn't practicing. I'm glad it didn't go on for more than a week, because then it might have been a problem. But I think that week, that don't matter. That don't matter.
And he was there for he didn't miss a padded practice. That was the thing.
Yeah, he was on OTAs. He was working out in the off season with his wide receivers. Like, Jordan Love has done everything,
and he was still at practice.
And I feel like
he just wasn't practicing.
Yeah, he was still there. Yeah, so he wasn't doing this. He wasn't throwing the ball into a net. Who cares?
And
you know what I mean? If it had went on for 3 weeks, I get it. If it had went on through preseason, then I get it. Like, you want him out there practicing. I don't expect him to play too much in the preseason at all. Maybe he gets a quarter in the third game. I don't know how LaFleur is going to do it this year. I assume he's going to do it like similar how he's done in the past. But like, I think Jordan Love's going to have a big year. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the
league. And was it Pratt or was it Clifford that was saying that after throws, Jordan would come up to him and start like quizzing him on routes and plays and stuff like that? So Jordan was still involved.
I didn't hear that, but yeah, that sounds like it. It'd be funny if he was like all trolling him a little bit. Like, no, that sucked, bro. That sucked, bro. No wonder they're paying me. They're gonna pay me so much money. They're gonna pay me so much money watching that thing. I don't know what you were thinking.
Sean,
about.
I can throw it with my left hand farther than you can throw it with your right hand.
You know what I mean? That's what I would do. If I was a starting quarterback getting paid top money, I would troll all the backup, and in a fun way, because I troll all my friends. Like, I always tell people that if I kind of like dog you a little bit, if I talk a little trash, that's because I like you. If I don't talk trash to you and I talk to you a lot, that probably I don't like you that much. Stop talking to me.
Yeah, so
I'm just
he's never talked trash to us, Joe. I guess we know where we stand, but
no. He didn't even know who I was for the longest
What?
time. So I mean, we're
I know Iowa Joe. I just didn't know the name because connected with it, but now I know. I think Iowa Joe is one of the best names in all of.
Matt was just sure. He's just
podcast.
like, is his name actually Joe, or is that just?
No, because it's like Joe, whatever your last name is. Maybe you don't want to know, but like through like the DM, I didn't connect it. So I think it's a great name, even though I think Wisconsin is superior to
I don't
Iowa.
know about
but
that.
besides
I think we got to end this right now.
Dude, I gotta represent. Wisconsin is the top. Wisconsin is the premier Midwest state. But what do you guys got? You guys got corn over there, right? Though,
and
I don't really like corn. We got cheese. I like cheese. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like Wisconsin.
Hey,
is for me for sure. No, but I'm sure Iowa is a fine spot.
Do you like pork?
Radar O'Reilly's from Iowa.
I actually
Radar
work
O'Reilly,
in the town that he was from.
Dude, I love MASH. One of the greatest, probably the greatest sitcom ever. Radar O'Reilly. I'd maybe go to Iowa just to go to that town.
Yeah, the town that Radar was from, I actually work in that town.
Do they have a sign there? I heard that they have a sign there.
They don't have a sign, but now in the Historical Society, I think they got a little section for the Historical Society Museum. But there for the longest time, they didn't have anything. There is a sign, I think, in one of the... there's a little, I guess if you want to call it a restaurant, but it's not really a sit-down type restaurant. It's called the Canteen, and they've got a sign in there for Radar. And the restaurant's been around since like 1920 or something. So, but there
you go.
I have to say, and I'm going to put this out there, and if I'm completely wrong, I wish somebody would fact check me on this. But supposedly, during one of the celebrations for the city, I don't know if it was like a centennial or whatever, they actually asked the guy that played Radar to come, visit Ottumwa and be their guest of honor. And he said, "No, guys, that was a TV show. I'm not really that person. Leave me the hell alone."
And he's also, he was a dick, for being honest. Like, I've watched like a lot of the documentaries and like people talk about it. That's why he left, because he was kind of rubbing people the wrong way. But I still love the character. I don't care about the reality. I'm in sitcom land. You know what I mean? I don't need to hear the real stories, but I think that's a great show. I still watch. I've been watching when I was a kid. The old people used to watch MASH, and I was like, "What are they watching? It's so stupid." I hated the show. Whenever you went to anyone's house, it was on. I was like, "Shut up with the show." Then I got older. I'm like, and I watched. I was like, "Oh, this is good." Hawkeye Pierce, bro. He gets all the ladies. Come on.
Yeah, I mean that's a common story right there. But we could have a whole nother podcast on just TV shows and everything else.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I could have a whole side podcast on my whole thing just talking about the TV shows. That's the kind of life I have. Lost, MASH. I can talk Sons of Anarchy. I do it all. But I appreciate you guys having me.
All right, Mike. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we?
Just gonna thank Matt, send him on his lovely way. So no, Matt, thank you so much for coming on with us. Matt, where can the viewers follow you?
If you go to themattramage.com, you can find all my social media, my podcast. I got merch. I got a shop. So, but also Facebook, Matt Ramage, Twitter. If you just search my name, you'll find me. But if you go to themattramage.com, you find everything. You know what I mean? All the things you don't want to find, but it'll be there.
Awesome stuff.
No one's looking.
Yep. We want to thank Matt for coming on the Ohana Packers Edition podcast. You can go and check out our website, ohanapackers.org. We've got the streams of all of our episodes. As Joe mentioned earlier, we've got our blog posts going up. We have our shop with our merch, constantly adding new items to that every week. Please support our channel that way. We really appreciate it. And follow our podcast on all your favorite podcasting apps. Follow the show's Twitter account at Ohana_Packers on Twitter. We post our polls for podcast episodes, especially as the season, as the training camp machine starts to roll a little faster. We'll be going back towards our Packers-centric coverage. This was a little bit of a breath of fresh air in the midst of all of our top fives as we fill in the gaps between the end of the draft and when football really gets rolling. I think we're under 100 days or something like that till kickoff. So, it's right around the corner at this point, the 2024 season. So we're chugging along to get there. But Like I said, please follow the pod. Give us a like and a subscribe if you're enjoying what you're hearing. But positive or negative, we want your comments because we want to be producing the content you're looking for. That's going to put a wrap on our training camp primer. We appreciate Matt Ramage for taking the time out of his afternoon or evening to come on with us. Go Pack Go and aloha.